Web design. What do you know about it? Do you create websites? How important is website creation to you? Do you ever plan on creating a website? Hopefully you said yes to at least one of those questions, because personally I believe web design is a very important way of expressing your creativity and your thoughts to the world. For instance, even if you have a blog, that can easily count as web design as long as you customize the elements. Tumblr is a great service for that. It's free. I'm not a big fan of Tumblr, to be honest, because I like other services. But if you're looking for low budget... Okay, how about I just start with the question, then I'll start talking about the actual services I use and recommend. Alright, so this question comes from ddefranco.com/ask. Again, this is my Ask a Question series, if you want to call it that, where I take your questions and I give you exposure and answer those questions in my video. So anyway, this question comes from Callum Green. He doesn't have a YouTube link or anything included, but Callum, if you happen to see this video, just comment below or just tweet me and I'll put a link in the video description. Anyway, Callum says, "Hi David, my question to you is, how did you create and design your website? Could you direct me to some free or cheap ways to create and design a professional looking website which has a whole bunch of eye-catching features? Thanks for your time, Callum." Thank you for the question, Callum. Okay, so web design is a huge topic. To describe everything I want to, say, it would literally take over an hour of video, and I don't want to bore you guys. So I'm going to go over my three favorite services that I think are worth using in terms of paid services, and then I'll go over a couple free alternatives. Number one is Squarespace. You guys should know by now, I freaking love Squarespace. I'm actually sponsored by them. So if you get to techsocial.com/Squarespace, you can start a 14-day free trial, no credit card required, so you can just play around with stuff, which is awesome. And I just overall love Squarespace. I've been using them for over 2 years now, maybe 3, ever since I heard about them in Indignation, I think, the podcast. I heard about it in Seaside Heights, actually. And ever since then, I have fallen in love with the service. They aren't the fastest at releasing new features, but they are one of the most stable platforms I've ever used. You pay a small premium, but it's worth it. My personal website, I believe, cost me a couple $100 a year, which isn't really that bad considering what I do. But they do offer monthly payments. Anyway, this isn't an ad for Squarespace. I'm just saying I love Squarespace. Check them out. It's a very easy to use WYSIWYG interface. WYSIWYG means what you see is what you get. But just because it's easy to use doesn't mean it's very, bare bones on features. It gives you a lot of CSS override features. It gives you a lot of customization, tons of templates to choose from, tons of customization on those templates. And anyway, just check it out. And trust me, Squarespace 6 is coming out very soon, which is going to revolutionize my current websites and introduce finally a new project that I've been wanting to talk about for a while now, and I can finally get that out pretty soon. Well, I've really over-talked that one, but definitely check out Squarespace. You guys, it's pretty obvious. I freaking love them. Anyway, number 2 is Typepad. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Typepad, to be honest, but I do use Typepad for a client of mine. Actually, probably like 10 or so websites of that one same client. And over the years, I've had many frustrations with Typepad. However, it's really not that bad of a service. If you're looking for a more simplified blogging platform, then I definitely have to recommend Typepad. While there are better platforms out there, Typepad is a great learning platform if you want to learn CSS and just the overall blogging platform is blogosphere. Is that the word for that? But yeah, that's my second recommendation. Squarespace is way above Typepad, to be honest. Typepad's like way down here, Squarespace is up here. The next under that, under Squarespace, between Typepad and Squarespace, is WordPress.org. Now, WordPress.com and WordPress.org are two totally different services. WordPress.com is the free service where you can have, your own custom URL, but you have to have .wordpress.com in there. Yes, you can purchase your own custom domain, but you're still tied down to many restrictions, which is why I definitely recommend WordPress.org, which is an open source platform. It's totally free, but the only reason I'm listing it under the paid platforms is because you need to have hosting, paid hosting in order to, host it. I do use GoDaddy. I have many, coupons and discount codes at techsocial.com/GoDaddy, which are still working, so feel free to use them before they expire. They might expire by 2012, so if you want to get on that, do that now. But GoDaddy is a great web host. They're certainly not the best, but I guess it all entirely depends on which hosting platform you buy. But yeah, definitely check out WordPress.org. It's not my favorite, but they offer tons of themes, tons of plugins, and WordPress.org, in my opinion, is the ultimate sandbox if you really want to get your hands dirty on code and anything out there. So just to reiterate, Squarespace, WordPress, Typepad. Typepad's way down here. The only reason I put them on the list is because I've been using them for a couple years for, work purposes. So I feel like they deserve a plug because they do play a somewhat large role still in the work I do. Okay, so now that I've talked your heads off with paid services, let's talk about the free services. Number one, definitely Tumblr. I gotta be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Tumblr because of how much they restrict you and how noobish it feels, but that's not necessarily a bad thing for the general audience. I just like more control, which is why I like Squarespace and WordPress. But if you're brand new to the blogging world and you want to have access to some beautiful templates and themes, then I definitely have to recommend checking out Tumblr. It's totally free. A lot of people love it, and the whole reblogging feature, it's kind of like Twitter where you retweet something. It's a great service, and it's a great method of getting your name out there. Oh, Jasmine, I'm trying to make a video here. Why do you gotta do this to me? She's staring at me. And my second free service, definitely check out WordPress.com. I know I already talked about that once, but please, check it out. It's very bare bones in what you get versus WordPress.org. But again, if you're not looking to pay and you're fine having with a .wordpress.com in your URL, such as jasmine.wordpress.com, then that's perfectly fine. I mean, you're not paying for it. You don't have any real things to worry about because you don't have to manage plugins and all the customization of code. And basically, if you want more control over Tumblr, but less worry than WordPress.org, then check out WordPress.com. It's a great middle ground. Well, as usual, I have over-explained, but hopefully you guys get my point. There are many awesome website design services out there that I haven't even mentioned. So if you guys have any services that you recommend, just, listen below, list the pros and cons, and maybe we can help out Callum and anybody else interested in web design. So thank you very much to Callum for your question. If you guys want to check out a free audiobook, check out audibletrial.com/thecreativeone. And today's audiobook recommendation, because I like to suggest audiobooks for my Ask a Question series, that is Weaving the Web, the original design and ultimate destiny of the World Wide Web. It basically talks about how the World Wide Web started and the great impact it has on businesses and individuals and basically the world today. I haven't read it yet, read it, but from the reviews I'm seeing, it actually looks like a pretty decent listen. And that wraps up today's Ask a Question video. When I say today's, don't expect them every day, but you know what I mean. Just go to ddefranco.com/ask if you want to submit your own question. And don't forget to include any social media link or website link that you would like to promote. That's just a way of getting yourself a little more exposure, which in my opinion never hurts. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Well, actually, you'll see me, which makes more sense, but I just like to say I'll see you.